Greetings, everyone. It's Beverly. Namaste. Beverly, the founder of Earthlight Promotions. And today is July the 3rd, 2021. And I got a message to come in today, and I got to come in with my chimes. Today, our topic is about anxiety and a natural way to overcome it, and different tools in my toolbox, and some that you already know about, and some that you might not have heard about, to allow us to overcome the anxiety that's kind of pervasive on this planet during this time. We have been going through, it's been about, 16 months now of this V thing kind of looming over us. Whether or not you had it or you didn't have it, or you actually took the V or whatever, it's just something, another added stressor as we're going through this birth of the new Earth. I like to call it Earth 1 and Earth 2. And Earth 1 is a lot of fun because Earth 1 is what we create using our heart and our mind and a remembrance of why we are here at this time. So welcome. I'm going to be coming on a regular basis now. My higher self, my spirit guides, everything is telling me to do this. So I hope you enjoy it. So I like to make things simple because there's a lot of complex theories out there. And today we're going to talk about anxiety. And of course, anxiety starts with an A. Now, I used to be a 4-year-old teacher. That was the best job I ever had, but back then they didn't pay much money. So I'm going to make it really simple. We're going to go all the way to, I don't know, maybe we'll go to H today. We're just going to use the different letters in the alphabet and the tools that go along with them with this overall theme of anxiety. So what the heck is anxiety anyway? Well, anxiety is not being in the now. So at this moment right now, it's 5:31. Everything's okay, looking around. My feet are touching the floor. I have this wonderful group watching me. Maybe it's only one person, maybe it's more, I don't know. But if it's just one person that I can help today, because my whole life, have had an underlying anxiety. And I've done lots of things to overcome it or compensate for it or even hide it. And now I don't even try and hide it. I just come out with it and just say, I feel some anxiety coming up. And what does that mean? That means my mind is going to a possible future that may not even be true. Even the top clairvoyants, even the top spiritual leaders are having this kind of trajectory as to where the earth is going. And some is positive and some is really great. And some is just like a dystopian future. And that can get into your peripheral vision. And so the first thing, anyone that knows me knows that I love Louise Hay. I heard about her the first time, I think in 1990. And my son was just like 2 years old. And I did have a lot of anxiety there because at that moment I became a single mother to a very highly evolved being, but still back then, just out of college, I was very anxiety ridden about it. So the first affirmation, so a affirmation that I would like to work with you is the anxiety affirmation from Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And what she did was she came up with the spiritual emotional cause for certain diseases and disorders and imbalances. Now, of course, there's the environmental cause as well. And there are people that have biochemical imbalances and they may need some GABA and some different kinds of herbs to balance them. And I will talk about some of the herbs as well. But I'm talking about this kind of general anxiety that many people are going through right now as we're birthing the new earth. So, anxiety is really just not trusting the flow of life, not trusting the process of life, and if you say an affirmation and you don't really trust it, it's not going to work. So, what we're going to do is we're going to say the affirmation, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little breathing to breathe out the anxiety that's underneath. So, here is the anxiety affirmation. I love and approve of myself. I trust the process of life. I am safe. I love and approve of myself. I trust the process of life. I am safe. I love and approve of myself. I trust the process of life. I am safe. I like to say it at least 3 times. Now, there is this formula that if you say it 30 times a day for 30 days, it actually goes deep into the subconscious. That's why they have these 30-day programs that people go into if they have addictions. It takes about 30 days. Now, I know there are 28-day programs as well, but what I was taught is 30 days. I actually was taught by Let's Go to Be a Rebirther, and he taught me to write it out 30 times for 30 days manually. So the anxiety affirmation, so I can also put that in the notes so you can have it. I love and approve of myself. You can even touch yourself. And I trust the process of life. I am safe. And then smile. Even if you're in the midst of some kind of almost panic attack, just smile. So the next one I'm going to go into, also under A, is attachment styles. I have just read that book a couple of months ago. It's awesome. And I was looking for it so I could show you the cover, but I can't find it. But anyway, there are 3 attachment styles, and you can imagine one is anxious. And I realized that's the attachment style that I've had most of my life. And it usually starts between 0 and 7. If you had 1 or 2 parents that weren't very nurturing, or you felt they abandoned you, they didn't listen to you, they weren't very nurturing physically and emotionally, maybe they had some narcissistic qualities, then when you grow up, you believe that you have to chase somebody who has an attachment style. So that's avoidant. So usually the anxious person goes after the avoidant because it feels familiar. So what I recommend is reading that book, Attachment Styles. And then there's the secure. So if you're anxious and you get with a secure person, and what happens when you're in your early dating life, you're not even attracted to the secure person because it doesn't feel familiar. You have to usually jump through a lot of hoops. You have to do a lot of things in order to get your parents' attention. Now, they may be very nice parents, but maybe they have to work 2 jobs. Maybe they just don't have the ability to be there for you. It's not about a blame game. It's just about you get used to that. And so ideally, you want to learn how to be a secure and not an anxious or an avoidant. The avoidant may have had some of the same traumas that the anxious did. And whenever anyone's getting too close, they just start running away. And they go from relationship to relationship, and they sabotage their relationships. So that's A, attachment styles and affirmations. Now B, and I love 3x5 cards. I don't like having everything, in a note on my phone or on my laptop or on my bigger computer. There is something, because I also am tactile as well, writing it out. So I would like to do some breath work with you. Just take 2 minutes. It's really simple. And have a nice straight spine. And as we start aging, you see a lot of people going like this. I mean, I actually see 20-somethings like this. So that's because we're on this phone all the time. So I ask you to just put your finger in your belly button, okay? And then visualize your spine just kind of stacking up. And there's this invisible golden thread going all the way to the top. Do you see how much taller I just got? You know what I mean? You could be 100 years old and still be standing up straight if you do this. So again, support yourself with the transverse abdominal, okay? Shoulders are relaxed. I'm not saying go like this. Shoulders are relaxed. Sit up straight. Okay. I have a pillow behind me. Okay. My hands are right above my knees, and my feet are on the floor, barefoot. And I'm just going to do this simple, which is breathe in 4, hold 2, breathe out 6. Okay. Deepak Chopra has a wonderful app, and he has a wonderful YouTube, and he does about 11 minutes of this, the Chopra Well. So I like his voice. So if you can do 11 minutes of this every day, and then also Wim Hof, WIMFHOF. Do either one of them or both of them. Squeeze in 11 minutes in the morning. You will have a much smoother day, and this will help with anxiety so much, especially when you come into situations where somebody actually comes at you with anger. You will be able to use this technique. Okay, so you just breathe in 4, join in, hold 2, 1, 2, and breathe out 6. Very good. Again, breathe in 4, hold 2, breathe out 6. Here we go. Now I'm not going to count anymore. I want you to do it, and I'm just going to do it for the next 2 minutes, okay? Get yourself comfortable. Here we go. Just 2 minutes of your life will help with the anxiety. Here we go. Breathe in 4, hold 2, breathe out 6. Breathe in 4, and it's in the nose. Hold 2, breathe out 6. One more minute. Okay, great. That was 2 minutes. I feel much better already. Okay, so what I do is I start my morning with that simple breathing technique, and then I turn on those 2 other people I told you about. You know, Deepak Chopra's been around forever, and Wim Hof, so I can hear their voice in the background doing their breath techniques. Um, Another thing I like to do during the week, if you have a bathtub, is an Epsom salt bath with some aromatherapy. Lavender is very good for relaxing the body. And also, now that we're going outside to different events, it's also good as a bug repellent, and it smells nice. I would get sick if I was to spray, some of those commercial things. So I use essential oils to ward off the bugs, and even things like tea tree, and also the oil of oregano. I got a tick behind my leg, and I just took a cotton ball and wiped it, and the tick was dead and came right out. Didn't have any problems. So those are the 3 I like to carry: lavender, oil of oregano, and tea tree. And I can get you a discount at the Mikhail Zayat's essential oils. I don't get a commission or anything, but I can get you 10% off. It's alchemical.oils.com, alchemicostoils.com. I'll put it down there. Alchemicist. I'm not pronouncing it right, but alchemical, but alchemicostoils.com. So having that in your bathtub really helps, and putting flowers in there really, really helps. In the Andean tradition, we put the different colored flowers in, and then we just hayaya, hayaya. And that makes our aura more bright. Because when you have anxiety, or if you're suffering from some depression right now because of this whole situation, and your income is low, or you haven't been able to meet with your friends over the last year and a half, and things are just, you feel like you're behind the 8 ball, taking a hot Epsom salt bath or putting in some Celtic sea salt is very helpful. And then some aromatherapy, and then putting some flowers, and hayaya, hayaya. So now to see, okay, boys and girls, we're going to do some child work. So again, from 0 to 7, we're kind of like a clean slate, and we're easily programmed. And a lot of things we also take out of context that a teacher or a parent or an aunt or an uncle may say, out of being overwhelmed or angry, or just the way they were brought up. That's ancestral. It's another thing, ancestral pain. We want to get to the core of that. And when you do these practices, you can get up to 7 generations in the past, 7 generations in the future. And I have a little altar over here that I learned in an African shamanism class for my ancestors. Now, a lot of us don't have pictures. With Ancestry.com, you can get more pictures easily if you are able to do that. But usually you can't get past your great-grandmother. So I have a picture of my great-grandmother, and I have a picture of my grandmother on both the paternal and the maternal side. So it's good to have both of them up there, and just like a little glass of water that you offer them some water. I can't offer food because I have a cat that would eat it, but in some traditions they do offer different sweets and foods for your ancestors, because they can actually help you with some things on this side, and you can help them as you're overcoming your anxiety, because they might have lived in a situation of a war. There was the Holocaust, there's slavery. I mean, there was all kinds of barbaric things here on this 3D dimensional plane that goes, and that's why they say the ancestor bones, it goes right into their bones. And then you've got their nose on your face, and this is a great grandmother, and you've got, their high cheekbones, and they're like, a great grandfather who was Cherokee. And so we've got all of that in our DNA. However, it doesn't have to be expressed in terms of the negativity. So I don't go, oh, my grandmother had diabetes and my mother had high blood pressure, so I'm going to have it. It has to also do with the environment that you create. And Antoine Béchamp, he taught that it's more important than your genes is the environment in which that you're in. So my body is an environment. So if my body is alkaline, right? Okay, think about it. My body's alkaline, and then there is a disease state that is in my DNA. It really can't populate, because I just started my morning with, pure filtered water with a lemon and a little cayenne pepper and a spoonful of maple syrup. And, I'm doing these cleanses and all of that. So I don't create the environment in terms of what I'm eating. I'm learning the chemistry, and then also anxiety. Now, you can do all of these things. You can start your morning off with spirulina and wheatgrass and all the things that I do. It's very alkalining, have a lot of minerals, a lot of nutrients, and then be so worried that you won't be able to support yourself because the way you were doing it has been slowed down to a screeching halt, or it's even been stopped because of this whole thing. Then you're going to create an acidic body. So it's really important to smile. You notice I'm smiling the whole time because it tricks your brain into thinking everything's okay. It's not about being fake. It's just like, okay, smile while you're saying these affirmations and while you're, going throughout your day. So in terms of the child work, when you do these connected breathing, and again, I can do the connected breathing with you. I went through 2 years of the 1 year seminar with Jim Worsley, who was a rebirther, who went all the way, to India and worked with Babaji back in the 70s, way before my time. But he brought back this ancient knowledge and shared it with me in the 90s. And so if you have someone coaching you as you're breathing in and out through the nose or in and out through the mouth, and then this trauma that you might have even buried, it could have been while your mom was pregnant and she had a shock, or something happened in the family, or there was some world event that happened, then you can actually let go of it totally through rebirthing. And then we come up with an affirmation to counteract whatever that, what we call the unconscious lie was. Or, like for me, it was, I'm not legitimate. And that was the circumstances back when I was born. I know that's not true now, but I had to say, I am legitimate, because if you don't feel you're legitimate, then how can you legitimately have a wonderful career or a partnership or any of those things? So again, by doing the connected breathing, the rebirthing, then you can reprogram yourself with this new affirmation after you've braved out the trauma. And once the trauma's gone, it's gone. It's not like psychotherapy where every week we talk about, well, I didn't feel legitimate when I was born because back then it wasn't cool to be blah, blah, blah. It just is. It's just done. And then also crystals. I love crystals. And today I'm going to do it in an alphabetical format. So the crystal I picked today is ammonite. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? I have a whole printout. Amazonite, like the Amazon. And I used to love hanging out at the Amazon rainforest. I worked for the Amazon Rainforest Company for 10 years with John Easterling and Olivia Newton-John, which is my ideal divine couple, because they've done so much for the planet, so much for people and animals and nature. Their love just bursts out on everyone. But I picked this not just because it's A and I'm doing A. I don't have it on right now. I have it on my altar. And also believe it or not, this Amazonite a lot of times is in this like blue-green kind of color, but it does come in shades of purple, which I think would be really beautiful, and gray. And it is good for soothing anxiety and bringing clarity. So my stepmom had bought this for me. I don't know where she got it. Such a juicy piece, so wonderful. And also this color I used to wear it a lot, but I don't need to anymore, because it corresponds to the throat chakra, which has to do with, of course, talking, communication, media. And so I had to overcompensate because of anxiety and wear a lot of turquoise so I wouldn't be afraid to speak up. So when I was in college, I actually majored in theater just so I would have to speak in front of people. But it didn't really quite work because I was so terrified of auditions. I only got into a couple of plays in college. I think, one or two. But the point is that, it helped a bit. But the ammonite is a very healing crystal. And I just love this blue-green hue. And it's also nicknamed the Hope Stone, And so again, what's the opposite of anxiety is hope, and also faith. So when you have anxiety, just like I'm thinking, oh, I've got to drive an hour and a half today, the mind goes, oh, you could run into traffic, or, it could downpour like it did last week and it was slippery. And, the mind's job, remember this, I've heard it over and over, but I really just got it. The mind's job is to keep you safe. So if last Friday you had a wonderful time at someone's house, but on the way there, the last 5 minutes, it downpoured to the point where you could barely see, the mind's going to go, are you really sure you want to go visit these friends? I know you've been months and months almost agoraphobic because people weren't going out of the house and this would be really good for you, but the mind's job. So you have to bypass the mind, okay, and focus on, I really am safe visiting my friends that live in Colombia and da 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 da. And so the affirmation. So um, basically, Ammonite doesn't shy away from putting a positive spin on life. So, I mean, could we use anything more than a positive spin right now? I mean, come on, let's just put a positive spin on it. And it also calls for inner strength. And, you know, our inner strength does come from right here, and willpower, and that's the solar plexus. And what I do sometimes is, you know, I have these bras where I can actually stick stones right in there. So it'll go right to my solar plexus and right to my heart. I'm not going to show you, of course, but I just stick them right in the side of the bra. Now, if you're a man, of course, you can't do that. But, you know, you could just put it on a, on a chain and put it underneath your shirt. So it could be right here in your solar plexus, in your heart. It says the soulful gemstone has long been used as a talisman of truth and hope. As a gentle, energetic flow of its color scheme suggests, it comes from the dense green riverbanks of the South American rainforest, hence Amazonite. The name is pretty obvious, you know, where monkeys scramble and parrots fly around in their exotic colors around the trees. And the air is actually so pure, and the biomass gives the plants a very high, dense nutritional value. It can also be found in Madagascar and the icy depths of the Russian tundra. The stone that is mined in the most extraordinary places and perhaps to a mystical, watery nature. So they've been around forever. And this is also a stone that lined the shields of the Amazon warrior princesses. So any divine feminines that feel connected to the archetype of an Amazon, hey, you know, it helps with courage. Okay. So there are a lot of scary things happening in the world, and there's been some news that's been coming on lately that was very upsetting about the Indigenous people in Canada in some of these schools that were created by the Catholic Church. And again, and it really affected me. And so I decided I was going to get this out, and then I was going to light a candle and pray for those children that were forced into those boarding schools. So again, grace and glory of Ammonite spans centuries. It's also the gemstone adorned in the temple and tombs of Egypt, and was used to make the tablets formed in the Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead in the Buddhist tradition. And so, what is the biggest fear of most people? It's the fear of dying. So again, this is very helpful in overcoming our fear of death because, you know, in the last 16 months, I think, I know personally 2 people that passed, but I've heard about many more associated with, and they weren't all associated with the V. I don't even want to say it, but some of them were associated with some other kind of disease. But it seems like more people than ever before have passed that I know of in this last year and a half. So, you know, the Book of the Dead helps with this, knowing that you are a bright spiritual light that is living in this body that I call Beverly. But we shed that, and then we go back to the light of the Christ consciousness, or the all in all, or whatever you want to call it. It all leads back to the same. Even the grandiose historical connections aside, long healing properties in the deep set connection to the heart of the chakra of the throat. mark out the Amazonite stone as being something special. If you dream of living deeper, standing strong and proud in your authentic light and manifesting universal love, choosing the Amazonite could be your best decision to make. Let's dive deeper into the Queen of the Green Stone and take a closer look at the hidden magic. So basically, it is connected to both earth and water, which is really good for me because, I've got a lot of water in my chart. And so having the earth in there is great. And it's ruled by Virgo. And for me, it's good because my moon is in Virgo. And that keeps me a little bit grounded because as a double water, I'm very empathic and very sensitive. So this was really great for me to know. Okay, the physical healing properties is, while crystal healing is amazing, okay, it really helps with just physical healing and your overall well-being. And it helps to balance the thyroid. And I know 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with some thyroid thing, and I did a whole holistic regime, and I never took any Synthroid. And I was working with a very good chiropractor. And so, and then eating more seaweed and, Irish sea moss and kelp and things like that, and help to balance out my thyroid. And if you need a recommendation for someone who's good with that, I can give it to you if you've been diagnosed with a thyroid condition. But it is known for helping the thyroid, and it also helps for you to absorb calcium better. I personally don't do dairy, but there's like lots of green vegetables you can get calcium from, and it helps for the bones. And it also helps you to have shinier hair and have it grow. And my hair actually has been growing back better, So again, you don't have to wear it as a necklace. You can actually, just put it on you, or you can at night, have it under your pillow or something like that. And it also helps with like monkey mind. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll just be all over the place. So I was like, oh, I could just make a headband out of it, and it'll help with the monkey mind where I'm just thinking this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing. So this ammonite is just really amazing, and it helps soothing like your anxious disposition and any like self-destructive thoughts, like, you can't do this and you can't do that or anything like that. It also is a brilliant gemstone to have on hand when you need to pull yourself out of low self-esteem. So, I've had that. So it helps with low self-esteem, and it's very connected to the divine feminine, very connected to women. And it also helps with self-neglect. And a lot of women, especially moms, we are so busy making sure the house is clean and the kids are okay and the dog is fed and the cat is fed that we neglect ourselves. So this is a really good stone for everybody, but especially moms or women with a lot of responsibility, or caregivers if you're a caregiver. So it kind of invites you to put yourself first and not put yourself last. And it helps with people that have trauma from the past. If you've had some kind of traumatic experience, doing the affirmations and breath work, and then this ammonite will help as well, and help you filter out the stress and anxiety and learn to let go. It's not serving you any longer to go over and over, what daddy did or what the first boyfriend did or anything. It kind of like patches up those old wounds. It's almost like puts like salve on it, and it's more manageable, and it kind of breaks it down into digestible pieces. And it also it's very like ammonite is like very it's love, serenity, it's elegance, it's clarity, it's lushness. It's also connected to the heart chakra. So you could just put it on your heart chakra, and if you'd like, lay out in the sun and let the sun illuminate this right on your heart chakra. Because I did a sacred ceremony with some indigenous shamans from Mexico 2 weeks ago, and then I had a dream, and the dream was that you have still some heart issues. Now, of course, I don't have high blood pressure or anything. It had to do with wounding. And I just got, ammonite would be really good to help me right now. I also got some pink rose quartz as well. And I got another stone, but this really helpful. Okay. When the heart chakra is blocked, it can struggle to trust anyone and open yourself up and let kindness of the world come in. Okay. So in the end, it also helps. I'll just give you a couple more things. It helps with intellect and intuition. So when you wear this, you're more intuitive about what's good for you, what's not, who you're dealing with, and what is your authentic mission here on the planet. Why are you here on the planet? And it helps you to be more comfortable in your skin, invites you to take spiritual leap and open your mind and hearts to infinite possibility. So it says, in terms of a birthstone, as a birthstone, ammonite is ruled by Uranus, which is linked to Virgo. Those that have Virgo in their star sign, commonly hardworking, reliable, patient, all of that. So again, I have, Virgo in my moon. So this is very helpful if you had Virgo as your sun sign, or if you had Virgo as your rising sign. So that is C for crystals, amazonite. You can get yourself a little tiny one just at the crystal store. I like chrysalis, or you can get yourself a beautiful necklace like this. All righty. Next is, we did A, B, C. Now we're doing D. I know it's backwards. D is dance. And I just heard from my son Dante, speaking of D, that ecstatic dance is coming back. So one ecstatic dance is back and live in person. I'm going to promote that in my earthlightpromotions.com, and then click on sign up for my newsletter, and you'll find out when the ecstatic dance is happening. Or just go to my Facebook, Beverly L. Nickerson, and I'll, post it on there. So ecstatic dance is wonderful. It doesn't matter if you feel like I have two left feet, or you're a really incredible dancer. My mother was an incredible dancer. I can dance pretty okay. There are people that are, much better dancers. It's not about good or bad. It's just about letting the ecstasy out, doing your own thing, enjoying the music. So that's really important, to dance. And also, now that it will be open, I really want you all to check it out. Anyone who's open to that as a healing modality. And D is dream interpretation. When I did the sacred ceremony, they told us to bring a white candle, the kind that you get in the section of Giant or Safeway that's in like a glass. I'll show you. It's in a glass. Now this one happens to have a saint on it. You can get just a plain one. This happens to have Saint Martin. And I like Saint Martin because he was the patron saint that got along with all the animals. There's usually a picture of him with like a mouse, a cat, and a dog all getting along. So, I'm a big animal lover. And excuse me, I also like him because he's the mulatto saint. That's what they called him back then. And I am, both biracial. And so he wasn't considered a saint until after he died, of course, because back then you couldn't have someone be a saint whose mother was of African descent. I believe he came. I know when I went on Sacred Journey to Peru 4 times, there was a big cathedral, and I know his chair was there. St. Martin had a chair that if you sit in it, if you're having a hard time getting pregnant, he can help you. And all kinds of women would sit in that chair. And I actually have a friend who now we went in 2013, so it's 8 years later, and she has a 4-month-old. So it definitely worked for her, in terms of having a baby and manifesting a husband. For me, I did not manifest another child, but it can be about birthing a new project, birthing your authentic self. So anyway, with the candles, a candle like this is different. But anyway, during the ceremony, we lit that. And then every night I light the candle, and then I would have vivid dreams for 5 days. And I write down everything as detailed as possible as soon as I wake up. Sometimes I don't even brush my teeth. I just write it down so I don't forget. And then I ask the ancestors to help me to interpret the dream. And so I was working through some shadow stuff. I don't even like to say dark anymore because there's nothing wrong with dark. The womb is dark. People are dark, it's the shadow. And it was really helpful. So I believe, like, if you get another kind of candle, you can actually charge it with a little bit of oil, and you can even write something on it like love or healing or energy, and then light the candle. In terms of color candle magic, we'll call it, I was told that an orange candle, and I know orange is the second chakra, and that's also connected to sexuality and abundance. And I just got one of these. Excuse me. Now, you get these at Michael's. It was not the best because the fragrance, I'm super sensitive. And so the fragrance is not like the highest vibe, I mean, it smells okay, but if you're sensitive, you might not like it. You might get a mild headache. But an orange candle is really good for money, finances, job, abundance. And so I put some money underneath it and I lit the candle. And, it could be a coincidence, but things are definitely opening up for me financially right now. So an orange candle for abundance. All right. So exercise. I worked in a women's gym for 12 years, so I really love to exercise. I walk at least an hour a day, Monday through Friday. I do yoga 3 times a week, and I really recommend you can do a senior yoga, you could do a gentle yoga, you could do a power yoga, you could do a hatha yoga, you can do a kundalini yoga. I mean, there's all levels of yoga, and I can give you 1 week totally free. Just to try it. You can do as many classes as you want with my teacher, Stuart. He's been a teacher for probably 30 years now. And he used to teach at Gold's Gym and Reston Association, but now he's doing everything online. And it's just like he's there because he can see you through the Zoom. So don't think you can slack off. He'll be like, hey, what are you doing? Stand up straight, in your pose or whatever, which I like. I just do much better with another human being helping me. I don't do as well with the pre-recorded, but I know there are a lot of pre-recorded yoga things that you can do as well. It is really important to do light weights. Okay. And I'm actually using my chimes for exercising my arms now, so just doing this for 10 minutes a day, It can be 1 pound, it can be 10 pounds, but just toning, walking, jogging. If you're into jogging, I'm not. I got my bike. I got a nice fold-up bike, and it's in the back. So before it gets too hot, I really recommend you get some aerobics out there, some going. And then G, A, B, C, D, E, F, O, F, alphabet. Okay. Well, yeah. Forest grounding. So F and G go together. So basically there's this whole theory, and it's for those that are into scientifically proven, there's a documentary, I believe it's called grounding or forest bathing, something like that. But anyway, it shows going outside barefoot. Okay. And I have delicate feet. I will tell you, I have very thin feet. So I can't just go walking everywhere. But I just find I have a softball field, and you just put your feet in the soil. You just put your feet in the soil, put your feet in the grass, and that grounds you. And then also, it's almost like you're a wire, and it grounds you. You know what I mean? Like you have your positive and your negative, and then your feet are in the soil, and it grounds you. And it actually helps with inflammation. And it actually helps with anxiety and worry. So if you can get yourself out for about 30 minutes or a day if you can, when it's nice out, and just put your bare feet. Now, if you're walking the dog on the path, you can't really do it because it's concrete, it's asphalt. Maybe after you've walked the dog or after you've done your power walk or whatever, then you can just stand. You can even get your yoga mat out and then put your feet, like just don't have your yoga mat on the rubber part. And that can help with grounding and with it's scientifically proven, and it will ground you, and it will help with anxiety, and it will help with those worry thoughts. Now you could just hug a tree as you have your feet in the ground as well. So again, G is the same thing: grounding, feet in the soil, walk barefoot for 30 minutes, ground yourself like a battery. Now they do have these things out there where you can buy it. It's like a grounding mat, and you can plug it in and you can put it underneath your mattress and you could sleep with it, or while you're doing your computer work. So that's another option as well, because you may live in a high rise somewhere where it's hard for you to be able to do the feet in the soil on a regular basis. So you can buy one of those grounding mats, and you have to do the research on that and and watch the video. Last but not least, we're going to do H. House clearing. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of opening all the windows. I do it almost every day. I don't care if it's below zero out or it's 105. Open all the windows in my condo. I have a 2-bedroom condo, and I air out this place. And then I light some Palo Santo, holy wood. Okay, so this is what it looks like if you've never seen it before. The first time I met Palo Santo was 14 years ago when I met Don Martin Pinedo El Condor. And he gave me a little stick of this, and he said that the house I grew up in had some hucha in it, which is energy. And I wasn't surprised because, alcohol can bring in the lower spirits, anger, jealousy, fighting. And so I had that in the house floating around. So it's amazing because this will last forever. It's not like regular incense. You just walk around the house with this, and it's very light. It's not thick smoke like sage. Some people don't like the smell of sage. And you just go all over your body with it. Walk around your house, even in your bathroom. Make sure you get the corners. I hear the owl in the background. And it will really do your place, because sometimes while you're sleeping, these shadow entities can come into your dreams, and you don't want to bring it into your daily life. Or if you watch like what I watched, which was about the Native people in Canada and what they went through from 1890s to I think it was 1990, some of these schools. And so you want to open up all the windows and then just sage, but use I like the holy wood better than the sage, but I do have sage too. And I do have copal and frankincense, and I will use that as well. Now, the final thing I'm going to do, believe it or not, I've been talking for 50 minutes, is talk about feathers. Every week that I walk, I pick up feathers. And you might notice that, that I actually have, hold on one second. I have a feather collection. Now the earrings I have on are owl. So the first time I used a divination deck was probably 1988, no, maybe 1990. And it was Jamie Sams. And she's biracial like me. She's French and Indigenous, First Nation. I don't remember which nation, and she's written several books. And she passed not too long ago. And I went to Azure Windwalker's house, and we did a wonderful ceremony in her honor. And the very first card that I picked from her deck, Animal Speaks, was the owl. And owl people, not only do we like to stay up late, because I do, I'm a night person for sure. Don't call me at 6 a.m, expect me to be friendly, unless I have to be. Owl people can really see into people. and we're good clairvoyants, and we can kind of see through the mucky muck, so to speak. And also, Athena had an owl on her shoulder, so they're very good at giving us guidance and wisdom. And I was walking the other day, and I believe this is an owl feather. And I was walking on a very manicured kind of neighborhood, and there were two of them. I think this is the two. Yeah. I picked up these two. Okay. This was about 3 weeks ago. And then I was very fortunate to get this one, which I believe is like a silver hawk. I just got that a few days ago. It's almost like I'm not in like the deep woods. I'm in Reston, and it's just like laying out there for me. And so this is how I know I'm on the right track. I picked up this one. No, actually this is turkey feather. But when I used to go to Martha's Vineyard, there were plenty of turkey feathers everywhere. So it wasn't considered so mystical because there were tons of turkeys that walked through the yard every day. But I also have some little ones, of course, some blue jay, But, and then this was gifted to me when I went to see Azure. And it looks like a big parrot feather. So the last two that I got was a silver hawk, red tail hawk, and two owl. And then I have tons of small ones. And so they're making a nice feather collage. And my favorite orphanage is Share Tanzania. And John St. Julian Wanababa, he's from the UK. And he also calls it Feather's Tail. And he started seeing feathers appearing at 11:11. And he got a message from the creator to go to Tanzania. And he started his own orphanage. And 5 years later, it's grown to help so many children who are special needs, and a dog rescue. And I love dogs too. Dog spelled backwards is God, our man's best friend. And I love walking at least one dog a day. Now, this is my collection, and it grows every week. Sometimes I get feathers twice a week, but all of these, except for two, I found. One was gifted to me by a medicine woman in Roanoke, and two of them were gifted. So I'm going to pick a card from this deck. So anyone who happens to tune in and stay for the whole almost hour of me speaking, and again, I get anxiety about talking for an hour, but once I get going, I'm having a great time. So, it's really funny because the mind is just trying to keep me safe because, I was humiliated when I was younger, I guess. I remember when I was trying to speak in public, maybe it was second grade or something, because I couldn't read that well. I stayed back in second grade. And so maybe I had to get up and read. I don't know. It's time to let go of that, don't you think? Second grade. All right. So anyway, I'm going to pull a card for us for July 3rd, 2021, before the big July 4th. I know Independence Day. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not going to try and get political. I'm voting for this Earth one where it's fun and we're just all beautiful light beings wearing an earth suit of different hues and colors and sizes, and there's no discrimination. Nobody trying to get you onto their agenda. Okay, so let's see. Here we go. What is our message as a collective today? Look at, you see this? White swan, the power of divine grace in you. I like that. I like that a lot. White swan. All right. Let's see what the white swan has to say. Do you like white swans? They're so beautiful. I think swans, don't they mate for life too? For any of us that have been single, open to. But again, we have to really love ourselves first before we'll reflect a partner that is loving towards us. So let's see, white swan, where are you? White swan. Sorry. Apparently it's not under swan. Maybe it's not alphabetical. I'll look at the table of contents here. Okay, white. Well, white means purity, healing, divine innocence. So white swan actually comes up in the beginning. So it is not alphabetical. So it's on page 15 here of divine feathers. Messages of healing and inspiration and wisdom. Okay, it's actually the very first one in this book. Okay, so, well, swans are mighty, they're powerful, and they're beautiful. Yet they're very soft, and they're effortless glide in motion. The swan has long yet symbolic beauty of grace, fidelity, and partnership. Don't we all want that? The symbolism is enhanced by the color white, the color of healing, purity, and the angelics. Many folk tales use swans to illustrate the swift from the duckling, or the child self into the fullness of maturity. Goddesses also have chosen swan as their mount. Like divine goddess Saraswati, who unites with the healing element of water in her quest for wisdom, knowledge, and the healing arts. Yeah, that feels really good. I have an all white today too. And I've been wearing white a lot lately. So I'm definitely resonating with this. I hope you are too. Well, the message of the white swan brings with us the message that the power of the divine grace is indeed within each of us, within you. Your connection to the source is powerful, and the healing potential is connected with your collected merits in the form of grace. Now is the time to embrace these divine gifts where you must need support. That healing may be in the form of a blessing over a current situation or transformation occurring in life. Now that the divine messengers are assisting you now, you have the power through your own grace to move through any situation or challenge you are facing in smooth and harmonious way. So the energy is grace, beauty, fidelity, transformation. The season is summer, so it's the right season. The element is air and water. The color is white for purity and healing. And the affirmation, and I'll say it 3 times, is I now accept the gift of the divine grace and choose to honor the power and the healing of light within. I now accept the gift of the divine grace and choose to honor the power and the healing light within. I now accept the gift of divine grace and choose to honor the powers and the healing light within. So I'll leave you with this and a little bit of chimes. White swan is our message for today. It's our feather. That'd be cool if I could find a white swan feather. They have them here at the lakes. So I'm going to ask for one to be gifted to me. And again, this is the author of this is Alison De Nicola, and the artwork is by David Schreier. Divine feathers. Okay. Namaste. Namaste, my earth light friends. Love and light.